Welcome back to Aurora Reels. Today, we're uncovering the heartbreaking truth behind the Dragon Dreamer, a tale of ambition, prophecy, and the heavy cost of chasing visions of fire and blood. The Dragon Dreamer believed in a destiny shaped by dragons, but the truth behind their dreams is far darker than legend suggests. In this video, I'll guide you through the story, the sacrifices, and the painful reality that turned hope into tragedy. So let's dive into the fire, the dreams, and the heartbreak that defined the Dragon Dreamer. Instead of seeing it as some kind of magical gift, think of it like a glitch in your brain. Targaryens get this dreaming ability, but it's more of a hassle than a blessing, messing with how they view the future. Their blood holds memories, kind of like a genetic timeline. So when dreamers have visions, it's not just their imagination. They're connected to experiences that feel unavoidable because their DNA links them to both the past and the future. These visions are like chains. When a Targaryen has a prophecy, it gets stuck in their head and influences every decision they make. Instead of having free will, they feel trapped by the idea that the dream has to happen. When a Targaryen thinks they can see the future, it doesn't bring them comfort. Instead, it drives them apart from others. Holding on to that secret makes them feel unique, almost like they're cursed. As time goes on, this loneliness can lead to the kind of madness we see in some of the later kings. Initially, powerful dreams can motivate great leaders. However, the more a leader becomes fixated on these dreams, the less they seem like a ruler and more like someone caught up in their own beliefs. They begin to ignore the advice of others and instead focus solely on their visions, almost as if they're worshiping those dreams. Once a leader believes their dream is real, no amount of facts or logical arguments can change their mind. This deep feeling of certainty can overpower any rational thoughts, often resulting in poor decisions, wars, betrayals, and political problems that could have been avoided. In the world of Game of Thrones, many members of the Targaryen family demonstrate how becoming overly fixated on their visions can lead to loneliness, madness, and poor choices. For instance, Daenys the Dreamer had a prophetic vision that helped her escape disaster, while Daeron was turned into a cowering drunkard. These examples show how what seems like a gift can actually become a burden, trapping them in their own minds instead of guiding them towards good decisions. Daenys Targaryen, often called Daenys the Dreamer, is famous for her incredible vision of a disaster that would destroy the land of Valyria. This disaster, known as the Doom of Valyria, was a massive volcanic eruption that devastated the region. Because of her dream, the Targaryens became the only family of dragon lords to survive the catastrophe. Around 114 years before the Conqueror, Daenys had a vivid vision showing her that Valyria would be destroyed by fire and ash. Her father, Lord Aenar, took her warning seriously. He decided to move their family away from Valyria to a place called Dragonstone, bringing along 5 dragons, including the mighty Balerion the Black Dread. 12 years after Daenys' dream, Valyria was indeed destroyed in a volcanic eruption. While almost all other Dragon Lord families perished, the Targaryens managed to survive. Daenys' warning ensured that the Targaryens continued to exist, allowing her descendant, Aegon the Conqueror, to later unite the land of Westeros under Targaryen rule. Daenys' visions were said to be documented in a lost book called Signs and Portents, with some fragments claimed to have been copied by a scholar named Archmaester Marwyn. Her foresight laid the groundwork for how the Targaryens viewed their dreams. These visions greatly influenced their decisions in politics, warfare, and family matters. In the House of the Dragon series, King Viserys compares Aegon's dream of the Song of Ice and Fire to Daenys' prophecy, highlighting how her legacy continued to shape future leaders. Daenys' dream saved her family, but also brought a burden. They came to believe that their fate was determined by prophecy. In later generations, some Targaryens treated their dreams as absolute truth, leading to obsession and even madness. Aegon the Targaryen's prophecy, often referred to as the Song of Ice and Fire dream, is a crucial part of Targaryen history. This vision guided Aegon during his conquest of Westeros and sparked centuries of fascination with prophecy. Aegon had a vision of a great darkness rising from the north, a threat that could endanger all of humanity. He believed that the only way to face this danger was for all of Westeros to unite under a leader from the Targaryen family, who had dragons. Aegon passed this vision to his descendants, making them believe that ruling was not just about politics, but something essential for the survival of their people. Aegon carried the heavy secret of this prophecy, which set him apart from others. His quest for conquest was driven by a sense of urgency rather than mere desire for power. Later kings, such as Viserys I, viewed this prophecy as a sacred truth. They ruled more like religious leaders than traditional monarchs, seeing their authority as part of a greater purpose. The certainty of Aegon's vision made his conquest feel unavoidable, even when common sense or political strategy might have suggested a different approach. Viserys I Targaryen's relationship with dragon dreams shows how prophecy can become both a burden and an obsession. His reign in House of the Dragon highlights the psychological decay that comes from chasing visions. Viserys longed to dream of prophecy like his ancestors. He believed in Aegon the Conqueror's vision of the Song of Ice and Fire, and tried to connect with it himself, but his own dreams never came. This left him frustrated and isolated. He carried the weight of Aegon's dream, treating it as sacred truth. This burden shaped his decisions, including naming Rhaenyra as heir, because he believed the prophecy demanded it. His obsession with prophecy distanced him from practical politics. He became more focused on fulfilling destiny than ruling effectively, mirroring the psychological decline seen in later Targaryen kings. In House of the Dragon, we're introduced to a character who sees and understands the world in a unique way. Rather than being seen as strange, her perspectives offer valuable insights that others might overlook. Imagine being the only person in a room who can see what will happen in the future, but everyone around you thinks you're just being strange. Helaena lived with this heavy burden, carrying visions that no one else believed. At first, she was sweet, soft-spoken, and innocent, almost like a child. Her predictions felt like silly little puzzles, easily ignored by her family and the people at court. Phrases like, "He'll have to keep one eye closed," or "Watch out for the beast hiding under the floorboards," were dismissed as mere eccentricities, until they turned out to be shockingly true. By that time, no one was listening to her anymore. The blood and cheese incident was more than just an act of violence. It was like a nightmare come to life. For someone like Helaena, who was already struggling with overwhelming thoughts and feelings, facing that situation was unbearable. Every scream, every sound, and every shocking image hurt her more than any wound could. She was put in the impossible position of having to choose which of her children would be harmed. Her seemingly flat reaction wasn't due to a lack of love. Instead, it was a way for her mind to cope with unbearable pain. When faced with extreme terror, sometimes our minds shut down just to help us survive the moment. That experience shattered her mental state. The once gentle and imaginative woman who shared beautiful stories became a person lost in grief. The blood and cheese incident marked a turning point where her hopes, overwhelming stress, and trauma combined into lasting sadness. Each time one of her predictions came true, it only added to her sadness. What started as a gentle gift turned into a heavy curse, robbing her of happiness and leaving her an empty shell filled with sorrow. Her story is heartbreaking because it shows how the weight of prophecy can isolate you, consume you, and ultimately destroy you. Picture living in a world where everything feels too loud and chaotic. For Helaena, her mysterious words are her way of dealing with this overwhelming flood of images and thoughts, where her visions come to her like prophecies. Next, we meet another dreamer, in the show Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. That's Daeron Targaryen. Daeron had the unsettling ability to see death clearly in his dreams. He didn't just have vague hunches about what might happen. He knew exactly how he and his loved ones would die. It was a terrifying power, knowing what was coming, but being unable to do anything to stop it. With every vision he experienced, Daeron felt more trapped. Instead of guiding him, his ability became a burden. It took away his choices, leaving him feeling helpless against the fate he saw unfolding. While other leaders fought for a brighter future, Daeron could only watch as his kingdom fell apart, just as he had foreseen. What should have been a gift turned into a source of endless pain, turning every new vision into a countdown to disaster. The cruel twist of his situation was that he had no real choice at all. His incredible foresight transformed him from a hopeful prince into a hollow figure, weighed down by the fire and destruction around him. One of Daeron's most well-known visions was about Sir Duncan the Tall, also known as the Hedge Knight. Daeron predicted that tragedy would follow Duncan. Ironically, when Daeron tried to prevent this outcome, he only made it happen faster, showing that knowing the future can sometimes be more of a burden than a blessing. At Ashford Meadow, Daeron had a vision of disaster. His prediction came true during the famous Trial of Seven, when Prince Baelor Breakspear, a well-loved member of the Targaryen family, died during the Trial of Seven. Daeron's prophecy was not just a metaphor. It happened exactly as he foresaw, with tragic accuracy. Watching Baelor's death confirmed that his dreams weren't guidance, but death sentences. The realization that his words carried doom fractured Daeron's psyche, deepening his despair. The guilt of Baelor's death marked the turning point. From that day, Daeron withdrew into isolation, consumed by chronic despair. The visionary prince became a hollow vessel, undone by the very fate he predicted. Daeron's life came to an end not with loud battles or great flames, but through a slow and quiet decline. He passed away during a time of chaos in the kingdom, marked by the rise of rival claimants to the throne and a terrible sickness that spread through the land. While the realm was torn apart by conflict and disease, Daeron quietly faded away, almost unnoticed by those around him. For someone who had to witness so much tragedy, Daeron's death could be seen as his only true escape. By dying before the full turmoil of rebellion and disease could overwhelm Westeros, he avoided the pain of witnessing yet another grim prophecy come true. In that way, his death was a small victory over his difficult fate. Both Daeron's and Helena's stories leave behind a haunting legacy. They were remarkable foresighters who could see the future but felt powerless to change it. Their visions were clear, but no one listened to their warnings, and their life became a tale of inevitability. What remains a warning to future Targaryens is that foreseeing the future does not guarantee safety. Instead, it can trap them in a cycle of fire and blood. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. It truly means a lot to me. See you soon!